Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to be traipsing down memory lane a little bit. We are going to be talking about makeup that I wanted but didn't buy. This isn't a makeup I regret not buying. This isn't a makeup I'm glad I didn't buy. This is just sort of a more chill kind of in between those two types of videos. And we're just sort of going into things that I saw and was like, yeah, I would like to buy that for one reason or another. And we're sort of talking about why I didn't buy it for one reason or another. Maybe I've changed my opinion on it. Maybe I think it's awful. Maybe in the future, after 2020, I'll want to buy it. But these are just some things that, you know, through the whatevers I've thought about that I've wanted to buy that I haven't, that I have feelings on that aren't necessarily, oh, I'm so glad that I didn't buy it. That thing ended up sucking. Or, you know, a case of, oh, it's gone forever. You can't buy it. So let's just go on in and talk about some things that I wanted but didn't buy because we are trying and slowly but surely becoming a little bit more enlightened, a little bit more responsible, a little bit better judgment about my money and how much I put into makeup and what I buy when it comes to makeup. All right, we're gonna start off with one that came out a while ago. The Viseart, which y'all know, your girl, I love Viseart Grand Pro 3. I will be buried with it. But they came out with, this was one of their like little petite whatever. They were like, I don't know, $30 or $40 something for like 6 shades, and the shades were like this big. I'd gotten one of them in a swap I did with a gal in a beauty group, and I decluttered it. I think I sold it. I don't know. But they came out with, in this incarnation, the Absinthe palette. If you don't know, you will know now. I have a love and an appreciation for a lot of things, you know, 18th, 19th century. Absinthe is a very sort of gothy sort of thing. It has a kind of dark gothic edge to it. And so when you take that name and you name it, you know, you take Absinthe and you name a palette with it, I'm intrigued. And then when you take that and you're like, we're gonna make it and it's gonna be nice and cute and like green colored and themed. I wanted this shiz so bad. The thematic gothic whateverness in me really wanted to own a slightly green hued palette named Absinthe. I was ready to lose my shiz, but I didn't buy it because it was pricey. And let's be real here for a minute. If you take out that one like really prominent green shade, it's just neutrals. It's not that green of a palette. I should honestly do a video where I take singles that I have and make better versions of these kind of palettes. I will make my own Absinthe palette. Let me know down below if that's the sort of video theme you would like to see. You know, and I like, you know, the idea of Absinthe and just the beautifulness of it all. I mean, honestly, looking at it, I'm glad I didn't because it's not that amazing of it. Like I said, you take out that one green, you're just like, oh, okay. You know, it isn't that revolutionary. It isn't that green. It isn't that amazing. It's pretty. Don't get me wrong. It was very pretty, but for some reason, obviously, probably price point. And I don't think I'd completely bitten the Viseart whatever. I wasn't entirely on that bandwagon just yet, but it was pretty and it pulled on my gothic heartstrings. I'm gonna make up my own. I'm gonna do that. I'll make my own Absinthe palette. Something else that I really wanted, but I didn't buy because I don't like the brand at all. I don't like the person this is in collaboration with. You could probably guess where this is going. Feel free to leave an answer down below. But Jaclyn Hill and, oh my goodness, who could it possibly, Morphe, decided that after they did the original Jaclyn Hill palette, which I have and I love, after they decided to change the formula on that without telling people, after they decided they were gonna come out with these vault palettes that ended up being travesty, awful, inconsistent quality, and then they were gonna redo them, which is still under allegation that maybe they didn't. After all this, after all the backlash, I believe this was after Lipstick Gate, they were like, you know what the world needs? It needs a Jaclyn Hill 2 palette, which, I'm not gonna lie, kind of got my whatever's going. Looking at this thing, it's all kinds of pink and purpley and red and orange, and I mean, yes.
Yes!
It was beautiful. If this had been released by probably any other brand, I would have purchased it. If ColourPop had released this, I would have roasted the shiz out of them for doing a big giant palette, but I would have bought it because the colors in it are absolutely stunning. I just looked at it and it just looks so pretty. I love purple. I love pink. I love orange. It was just all kinds of fiery, intense sunrise, sunset sort of vibes. I was ready to get down with it. I could have effed with that palette so stinking hard. It was tempting. I've gone into Ulta. I've seen it sitting there all pretty, and I'm like, it's so pretty. And as someone who does enjoy that first palette, I think that is some of Morphe's best quality. Every time I use that palette, I'm reminded how much I love it. But also thinking about the vault and Morphe's whatever quality, the fact that I despise Morphe as a company, I don't like Jaclyn Hill, I'm just like, what do I do? It just ended up being something I didn't purchase. I think I anti-hauled it, but it was so pretty. If any of y'all have it and you think the quality is amazing, I know that's been kind of inconsistent and whatever, and one of the reasons I didn't buy it, but do let me know because it looked absolutely stunning and I would have loved to bathe myself in that color story from head to toe. Okay, we're gonna talk about something that I really wanted to buy. We've actually talked about this, don't know if it's up yet, but I did address this particular product in a video discussing makeup prices that need to calm the F down. That point still stands when talking about this, but an item from Jeffree Cosmetics, who I don't purchase from anymore anyway. But y'all know when he released his highlighters, when he released those Extreme Supreme Frosts, I love that formula. I think I have all of the shades except for Hypothermia, and it is a beautiful, fun, super just out there alternative formula. I really enjoy it. And then he was gonna go on in and take that formula and jack it up even more, jack that shiz to Jesus, and give us Extreme Frosts. But giving us Extreme Frosts for $50. I believe the first round, I just didn't have the money. I was like, to buy all three of that is $150. That's a lot of money. $50 for one is a lot of money. I mean, if you thinking, you got like Natasha Denona, she charged $38, but Jeffree's out here charging $50 for his shiz. I mean, does this shiz have literal fairy farts in it? I mean, I would like to know what makes this price point valid and appropriate for this particular product. I mean, we do know that part of it is that bougie presentation box, that if companies would cut down the excessive amount of overindulgent packaging, especially some skincare companies, they could lower the price points of their products a little bit, but maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But $50 for these highlighters, then when it came down to like the restock or something like that, I think they were coming up onto Beautylish. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get them. I got my times mixed up and I missed them by like an hour, and at that point I was just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not gonna buy these. I'm not gonna, the sort of wave of whatever had gone, I was like, I'm not spending $50 on a highlighter. It's very sad. I wanted them a lot. I said in my video talking about the prices, I'm like, if any of y'all want to spend that money and send it to me, yes, I will do dedicated videos about wearing that shiz, but I ain't gonna go out and I ain't gonna spend $50 on a highlighter. I mean, it had better be the best thing that ever existed. It had better make me look Lady of the Lake levels of ethereal, otherworldly, and vaguely threatening. I need to transcend from my mortal form into something sublime. We're talking the moment that highlighter hits my cheekbones, I need Galadriel levels of
fear and worship.
Because for $50, I feel like that shiz owes me at least that much. This is something that's just signed kind of a little bit, you know, I don't feel any kinds of like, oh, I didn't buy it because of whatever. It's basically a perfect example of you see something, you're like, oh, that's pretty. And then you don't buy it because you don't need it or whatever. But Fenty Beauty, which is a brand that I have learned has highlighters that I love, and I haven't really found any other products by her that I'm like, yes, this is a end-all be-all holy grail. But she started to release those cute little eyeshadow palettes. I thought they were a fun, nice, you know, they really skewed towards her aesthetic. You know, they're more minimalistic. You know, she's not out here creating Morphe palettes or chocolate palettes, you know, really big, overextensive color theories. I feel like her sort of brand is like very quick, very to the point. This is what we're doing. And she released the Money and Wine version of these. The Money one, green. Y'all know your girl loves green. The Wine one, very obviously and aptly named, was, you know, reds, wine colors. Y'all know that if there are two colors that I love, it's green and it's red. And the greens that I saw in that palette were, I think, a really nice selection. I was like, that's nice. You know, just because I may have 1,000 greens doesn't mean that maybe they can shake it up a little bit. I'm like, that looks, you know, like a sort of unique collection curation of greens. That being said, I have greens. I have greens from ColourPop. I have greens from Give Me Glow. I have greens from Anastasia. I have greens from just a complete collection of companies. I am not lacking for green. But that doesn't mean I'm not in the future going to continue to buy more green, because if there's an eyeshadow color I love to adorn my lids with, it's freaking green. You know, sort of second verse, same as the first with the red one. You know, I got red. I got so much. I got Lime Crime. I got Jeffree Star. I got Anastasia Beverly Hills. I got ColourPop. I got reds. I need to pan. In the short version of this, I basically just didn't need these. There wasn't enough in me wanting to like review them or try them out. You know, it was just like, those are cute. If I were rich and whatever, sure, I'd bring them home. Here's something that is a little bit of a wanted it sort of kind of makeup I wish I had bought, because it's gone. It's gone into the atmosphere. I doubt it's coming back. But I believe this was the year that the Becca, the Year of the Pig highlighter came out. One of y'all ever so kindly gifted that shiz to me. I just about lost my mind. But Hourglass also that year decided that they were going to jump on this whole Lunar New Year trend, which has become kind of a terrible, horrible post-holiday anti-haul favorite. I absolutely hate it. They just take the new Lunar New Year thing and they slap some red packaging on it and like, look, we're inclusive. But for that year, Hourglass did come out with a Lunar New Year blush. I love Hourglass blushes. They are a beautiful mixture of shimmer, shine, sheen, and glow. They are radiant, they are glorious, they are beautiful, and this color had absolutely everything going for it. It was stunning. But at the time, I was reaching the point where I'm like, I need to not keep bringing in single blushes and single highlighters. And I believe the Hourglass blushes are like $46. So we're kind of going into that whole Jeffree Star $50 highlighter, but it's Hourglass glass $50 blush. And I'm like, do I really need a limited edition Year of the Pig Hourglass $50 blush? The answer was no. And I'm kind of sad I didn't buy it because it was just so beautiful. I've heard so many of y'all be like, it was stunning. It was amazing. So many of y'all were like, oh, I can't get it anymore and I wanted it and I feel the pain of not being able to get that thing because it was just so pretty. But it was one of those things where I'm just like, for the price point, for what you just gotta walk away from that shiz. And I'm a little bit sad that I did, but it's probably for the best. Something else that I didn't buy that was sort of a rational whatever on my part, Lime Crime, which is a brand that I have some things that I love. Venus XL palette, absolutely amazing red tone palette. Love their highlighter palettes. But they came out with lip glosses. Your girl isn't a huge gloss person, although for not being a huge gloss person, I have a shiz ton of glosses. When I did my lipstick declutter and my lip products, I was like, for not using gloss, you've got an awful lot amount of it. But they released their glosses. They got really, really, really good reviews. I know that Lacey from Spooky Lips and Fat Hips really loves them. She's like a gloss aficionado. And so I was like, okay, all right, they pretty, they cute. And then they released special holiday, Halloween, spooky colored ones. There was a green, there was a purpley black one. I think there was an orange one. And they were just all kinds of aesthetic perfection. I was sitting there thinking, yeah, when I wear a green lipstick, I can do all kinds of whatever. When I wear an orange lipstick, I can do all kinds of whatever. And when I just really, really wanted these. I believe they were $18, and for someone who doesn't wear lip gloss a lot, maybe I'll wear lip gloss once a month, and those are under very specific circumstances. For someone who wears it that little, $18, let alone 18 times 4, which is how many there were, it just does a lot of money for lip gloss. You know, the aesthetic was there. That green one, I think it was called like Slime Cherry or something. It was just, it was absolutely everything I could have wanted in Halloween spooky themed glosses. They were beautiful. But as I always and am ever keeping to say, I don't do gloss. I don't do gloss. Do I know that if I had got them, I would have gotten great use out of them? I don't know. In all likelihood, they'd probably be sitting there with the other glosses I have that I don't use. I don't know if it's up yet, but I definitely do a declutter where I have a lot of lip products that I decluttered because I just don't use them. I use the same things over and over and over again, and rarely, if ever, break out of that. So as much as I would have loved to have that green, shimmy shiny, whatever lip gloss, it just, yeah, no. A little bit sad, but it's probably for the best once again. Next we have two palettes that I think are still available. I am unsure. If y'all know, let me know down below, because maybe at some point, I know in 2021, I want to do like retro reacts, reviews where I get palettes that I've wanted that, you know, they're not new now, but you know, maybe people still want to see a review of them. The first of which being the Jacy Cosmetics Besties palette. This is a huge, giant mishmash of all the colors that I love. The selection of greens and oranges and yellows and purples all up in this shiz. I remember seeing it on Trend Mood and being like, why don't I have that? If I remember correctly, I think it might be a UK-based brand, which is probably why I didn't buy it. I also may not have purchased it because y'all know that I have said that in my makeup exploration, I lean more towards smaller, more curated color stories rather than just eyeshadow vomit into a palette. But the colors on this, like, I'm just like, I just want to try. I just want to touch those greens. I would love to have an opportunity to see if they're all kinds of amazing across my eyelids. And and then you have like with the green and the oranges and the yellows and the purples, and they just go all kinds of beautiful together, and it's one big giant Mardi Gras mishmash. It just looked all kinds of pretty. Like I said, I didn't buy it. This may be a case of at some point, if it is available, I would like to buy it. I think at some point I did, like, I don't know, Google or whatever, and it was sold out, but so pretty. If it is coming back into stock, if it's permanent, or you have any information about it, please let me know down below. Then another palette, and honestly a company that I have wanted to buy from, but I just haven't. I've heard from Teresa is Dead that their eyeshadow quality can be hit or miss, especially considering the price point. But the Beaute Beaute Oceanic palette, which is a glorious conglomeration of green and blue heaven. It is this collection of these rich, luscious, beautiful hues that I'm just like, oh, that is so pretty. You know, it just looks so gorgeous. I don't dabble in blue nearly as much as I should. I love green. I feel like I should experience more with like green and blue because they're very fancy, complementary, whatever. Ooh, green, blue, yellow, all up on this. Yes, I need to do that shit. But it's a company I've never tried before. I think they're kind of pricey. Once again, I'm not entirely sure why I didn't buy it. Potentially because it's a brand I've never tried before. I'm not sure about their quality. I know they have like they're longer. They have like a monochromatic palette that's like green and yellow sort of things. I kind of really want that shiz. But I just don't really have any sort of affirmed personal information or whatever about them. But, you know, I would have liked it. I like those colors. I did watch one of Teresa is Dead, one of her declutters, and she was going to declutter it, and she was like, do I declutter it? Do I not declutter it? And then she swatched one of the greens, and I was like, her swatching that green is what I aspire all experiences of swatching a green eyeshadow to be. So maybe I'll message her and see, like, I'm like, okay, how do you feel about this palette? Should I get it? What should I do? What's your experience and all that jazz? But for whatever reason, I just let the Oceanic palette kind of just go along in with the waves and let it wash out into the sea of countless makeup products that I've wanted but haven't purchased. But that's what I've got for you all this time around. Obviously, this is always some sort of subjective. I would love to hear what y'all have to say about these products. If you think some of them are ones that I maybe should invest in, would love to hear those sort of thoughts. If it's something you love or you're like, no, it's good that you didn't buy it because it wasn't amazing, because, you know, as much as we would like to think it, buying a product, no matter from what company, you're not necessarily guaranteed quality. So God only knows, Jesus take the wheel, what it's gonna be. And definitely down below, let me know what sort of, you know, products that you wanted but you didn't buy for whatever reason. Let me know if there are any palettes you want me to make like awesome, more better versions of with singles, like the Viseart Absinthe palette, because I'm definitely doing that one. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and as always, keep it real. Mwah!